From the North Pole to your home, magic is in every story. I'm not the first Santa, and I certainly won't be the last. Many Santas have come before me, each one doing a little things differently. The elves, of course, they play a significant role in breaking in the new guy. Me, in this case. My first trip to the North Pole was a crash course, and I had no experience. Charlie the elf, he brought me here after visiting my home on Black Friday. He immediately launched into a full tour. Imagine this: reindeer, elf schedules, toy blueprints, thousands of kids' names, everything being thrown at you at once. Overwhelming, it's an understatement. The elves, of course, they had all year to prepare, and I only had 1 month to get ready for this Christmas Eve. After the whirlwind tour, Charlie led me to my new home away from home. "This is where the big guy stays," he said, gesturing to the ornate room fit for a king. The central bed was huge, draped with red curtains, surrounded by mementos from past Santas. It was beautiful, to be honest, but at that moment, all I wanted was sleep. Charlie, he could sense my exhaustion. He let me to rest. So there I was, alone for the first time in weeks, thousands of miles from home, lying in a bed with millions of thoughts racing through my head. Self-doubt crept in. What had I gotten myself into? Was I really prepared to be Santa Claus? That's an insane amount of responsibility. Sleep actually eluded me, so I got up, too restless to stay in bed, and I started nosing around. I discovered a full Santa wardrobe, everything from boots to belts, all perfectly tailored. But what really caught my eye was a very, very deep closet, about 8 feet wide, but 20 feet deep. I've never seen a closet like this. I flip on the light switch, and there's a warm, dim glow at the far end. Behind the row of red suits, there was a tiny desk and an old filing cabinet, a sort of secret office, though nothing particularly grand. And in the far corner, there was a dusty, forgotten box that caught my eye. I almost walked away from it. Fear, doubt, and the heavy weight of what if held me back. But something, a tiny flicker in the light, it made me open the box. Inside the box was something indescribable. A rush of compassion overloaded my senses. There was old letters, storybooks, diaries, photos from the 60s, 1940s, even the 1800s. Stories that have been tucked away from past Santas, waiting to be found again. At first, I read a few stories, and they hit me like deja vu. It felt as if I had once written these notes, lived these stories, and had Santa's memories from decades ago. I've never felt this sensation before. It was a feeling of relief, as if my burden was lifted, as if I was actually meant to do this job. Life up to that point, it felt cluttered with responsibility. The creativity from my childhood seemed like a luxury, something that I had forgotten along the way, something for other people. I sat down at the desk in the deep closet with a blank leather notebook that had already been there when I arrived. There were blank pages mocking me, daring me to write, to create, to even try. But as I started, something shifted. The words, clumsy at first, they began to flow. Stories tumbled out, each one a step closer to rediscovering that forgotten part of myself. These stories were about kids, good kids, kids on the nice list. Some from this year, some from last year, some from decades ago. I was learning that each child had a special gift, one that needed to be nurtured and rewarded. Scott kicking butt in Taekwondo, Shannon learning how to ride her bike, and Emily, who just wanted to give her whole Christmas away to a friend in need. Writing became my secret weapon. Each word, each sentence was like a sword, cutting through self-doubt. It was a declaration that I'm here, I have a voice, and this Santa is going to be a little bit different than the last one. Storytelling became my compass, guiding me back to myself. Through these tales, I've rediscovered the joy of exploration, the thrill of the unknown. I gave myself permission to be vulnerable, to embrace imperfection. Through these stories, I confronted my fears, celebrated my triumphs, and found meaning in shared experiences. I realized that our stories, however flawed or messy, they have the power to connect us. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. They offer hope, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. And in sharing them, we find our voice, our purpose. And so, my hope is simple: to build a community, a space for vulnerability and authenticity. I want to inspire others to find their own voice, to open their own box of stories, and show them to the world. That's what we're here for. Thank you for joining me. Box of Santa Stories.